Okay, welcome back to Hill 137. This is a defense game that I played recently, and we're going to have a little look at the gameplay of it. I'm on a team with my VG friends here, and let's just see how things pan out. So my last one on this map was an attacking game, and that went pretty successfully. This one has a few things that are a little bit different, but we'll see how they are as they go along here. So we're starting off just moving across, getting into some defensive positions, getting right stuck into the enemy. I've just moved up to the lines, which, as you might know, is one of my usual bugbears, is people pushing forward too far on Battlefield. But I feel that sometimes, you know, you have to play each game as it goes. The reason I'm not pushing up on A there was because I thought other people might get to it, but there's another thing of mine: never ever rely on anyone in your team, because most of the time they will not do anything. So I'm trying to get stuck in here, clearing these guys out, getting onto the defence. So what they've used there is the boat to come straight round, and then you see there they've pushed straight up the hill, up to this rock, throwing grenades in and generally putting a lot of pressure onto A. This first base on Hill 137, it can be easy or hard. It's a fairly balanced area. It's good for defenders and attackers. There's a lot of cover all around. You can come at it from different areas. See here where I am, you can push around on the left and come in, cut round behind it if you use a boat. Or where on my other attack, my attacking game, you can go right up to the edge of B there. Oh my god. There's an epic knife fail by me. I was trying to be too clever for my own good. Oh, I thought Worker was gonna do me for another medic resurrection and death, like he did on a previous game. They're bringing their boat back in here. The twin machine guns on the front of these attack boats is extremely powerful, and it will just put a hail of fire onto you. Now these guys here, I think you can see that they've done pretty much what I was just saying a minute ago. They've moved right round on the left, and they're trying to cut in behind A. This can be a really excellent manoeuvre to do on the first map here, because if you can attack your enemy, your defending enemy, so I'm going here to catch them out. If you can come at them from two ways, so if you're with a squad of 4, you can split yourself into 2 and 2, back yourself up with the people on your team, and you can do a really excellent pincer movement, which is obviously where you're coming from 2 directions at the same time. And you see here where I am, where they were before, you can come up from there and then go around and come at A from the other side, and that means that you can cut off the defenders from running back to A. Even if it's just a small delay, that delay will allow you to get the plant and get that target destroyed. You can do a similar thing with B, because there is a very small bottleneck corridor over by B, which I think on my attacking game, as you might remember, I got a lot of kills from just camping that and shooting down through it. You often, I'm looking for snipers there, because you often get snipers up on that hill shooting across at our base, or putting mortars down and so on. But yes, pincer movements, they're very important, I think, in Battlefield, because often with the respawn and the way people get heavily defended, dug in and set up, you often do need to attack 2 positions at once. And often you don't actually need to get any kills even. It's more important that you just cause a large distraction and sort of create something to occupy any defenders with. So if you're creating a lot of smoke, a lot of explosion, a lot of noise, just even shooting at the enemy, they will have to divert their attention to you rather than focusing purely on a target. That can often be really important, especially when you're faced with maybe, you know, we've blown up B or blown up A and you only have 1 remaining, because then obviously the defending team, they only have to focus on 1 target. Whereas you see right now it's kind of hard, because we have to switch our time between the 2, and if one gets planted and we're a different place, you have to run back. And often, because you're playing with public people in Battlefield, more often, you know, it's very hard to get a full team in. You are relying fully on people to defend 2 areas at once, and as a Battlefield team that can be really hard, because you can't really be in 2 places at once, so you are reliant on your team quite a lot, and it can be difficult. Oh, Mr. Cheese. Mr. Cheese was this guy in this game, and he was probably one of the worst medics. One of the epitome of bad medics in games, which is basically just rezzing people whenever he sees them, regardless of any danger, not looking around him, not considering it, just sees a dead body and goes for the resurrection straight away. And I think he kills me multiple times on this game. He just rezzes everyone, and he was doing it to our team as well. He was just resurrecting anyone he could find. So again, pretty much what happened there. I was on A, I was defending A, got a plant on B, none of our public team, so I had to run back, try and get that defused, but then too many people there, not enough support, and whilst I'm there, they plant on A. It's a pretty textbook thing to happen for Battlefield. You just get pulled from two different directions at the same time and they break you up. I really like Hill 137, I like this map because the environment is fantastic, and I also like the change of environment. A lot of the other games, Killzone and COD, recently, I was talking to my girlfriend about this, Iman, yesterday, about how some of these new maps can be very, very claustrophobic. COD, there's a lot of maps that are very tight, and I don't, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, that suits the game style, okay? And the same with Killzone, but actually I was talking about, so I'll just quickly mention Killzone in here. Killzone 2 and 3, the map styles are very different between the two of them. Killzone 2, a lot more open, a lot more movement, areas to cover. Killzone 3, a lot more claustrophobic, very, very tight, and a lot of bottlenecks. And I think it's made the gameplay suffer a little bit. This map is a good example of how large, open, but a real mix of different environments works so well. That first section there, quite tight, a lot of cover, a lot of grass, holes, rocks, things to hide around, move through. Really, really good. This next area, we've got one large bottleneck up on the right hand side over to the right of me over there. Now that is a tight bottleneck, and you remember from my video before I got caught out there because they were camping that really, really hard. This left area here that I'm in, it's hugely open, there's very, very little cover. It makes you dangerous and open to, not dangerous, it makes you susceptible and open to snipers. It does also mean that there are boats up there, you see they can sit far out and hail fire down on our guys, as well as enemy tanks coming in there, snipers up on the hill. It just makes for a really, I think, a really dynamic style and a change in gameplay. You go from that very tight area at the start of the game. There's also a little cliff edge there, you see. Straight ahead from me there's a little cave, which I managed to put a lot of fire in. But I think, yeah, the change of the gameplay. And then after this section here, we go back up into another very tight, close quarters fighting area. So I think that change in pace is something that really stands out for Battlefield, and it makes for a really good change of gameplay and style. And that's something that I really love about Battlefield, because I don't think you really get that in any other particular FPS games on PS3 right now. I know that there are a lot of FPS games out there, but I think that the specific style of gameplay that you get with Battlefield is particularly unique and good. I'm sure people will disagree with me on that, but that's my opinion, so... So really, I've found a good position here. This rock allows me to cover, again, remember again some of my other videos, I like to try and get a position where I can cover multiple directions at the same time. It's generally because I find I have to do that in the games because other people don't cover those areas. So from here I can cover the guys sneaking through on the right, I can also then pan left to the river and the open area, and I can cover the people coming up towards A. So I can try and cover multiple directions at the same time. It also gives me really heavy cover because I'm right stuck behind this rock. The tank shouldn't really be able to put any fire onto me, snipers can't get any fire onto me, so it's a really good defensive position here. And even if I don't kill any of those long range targets over on my right, I can still mark them, and it allows our guys to see those. I like this gun for the medic. It's not the M60, I can't remember what it's called. But I find it's quite accurate, and it has very little recoil. You can see there, like I'm burst firing it, and it has small amounts of recoil. It's good, which makes it good at range and also a large amount of firepower. And at close quarters, you can hit fire it again with little recoil, which is very useful. It also has kind of medium to high power. I just find it a very good light machine gun. Reload time's not too much. And being a medic as well, it means I can supply myself with health and resurrect anyone I didn't actually notice these guys coming up on the left. IW worker there called them out to me. I'm keeping an eye on that cave there because they keep coming through there, so I'm just keeping a little watch on that. Double checking that. So again, let's just make a little point about momentum here. It's the biggest point. I want to keep mentioning it every single time I make a video because it really does make a huge difference. You notice at the start of that game they were kind of piling onto us again and again and again, and we've managed to now knock that momentum out of them, because when they came up here at the start from that right cave up on the cliff, they were pouring in there 3, 4, 5, 6 guys at a time, snipers on the hill, boats coming in. Now we've managed to put some good heavy fire on. It's kind of knocked that rushing power out of them. They've slowed right down, and actually you might remember from my previous video, the one on Valparaiso, the momentum was very important in that game, because they did just keep running over us time and time again, and the middle 2 bases in that game we just got dominated because of momentum. It wasn't really anything, well, it was also to do with the fact that our team sucked, but momentum played a huge part in it, and it does play a huge part in Battlefield. As you can see, the tank is pushed up now, and tanks in Battlefield, again, priority to take those out because they can be devastatingly difficult and a really negative thing for defenders anyway. For attackers, obviously, they're amazing. But the reason being, not so much the fact that they can kill, but the fact that they are just, you know, they can sit very close to a target and put a lot of fire on, and it will just often give people the chance to get a plant and destroy a target. I know that I've done it in games before, like on the first base on Hastings on Vietnam. A is a hugely open target. It can be covered completely from the enemy base. It's got no cover at all. So often what we do, move a tank in front of that first target, and even if it gets destroyed, it's still a burning objection until someone else fully destroys it, and that can be great for defense. So tanks, even if they get blown up, can be great for defending for attackers, if that makes sense. So once you've planted a target, trying to cover it and so on. Okay, so we've got a few guys heading down the hill here. That's 1 for me, 2 for me. 3. Kill assist. I still count that as 3 because I marked him. Is when you're faced with a wave of people, pretty much as we were on that first base, and they attack A and B at the same time. That can be very difficult to deal with. Reminds me a little bit actually of Demolition on COD, where if you attack both targets at the same time, they will often struggle to defend one or even both at the same time. There is a bit of difference there with Demolition. Obviously there's a time issue, so planting one often gives you the extension you need, etc. But I think the kind of principle of just overwhelming your enemy on this map or in Battlefield, if you take 2 at the same time, that can be really confusing, and often the targets are quite spread out, which can make it difficult for the defenders to take both of those out. And if you can have 2 or 3 of your attackers still up on either of those, then you can often win. But what I was saying was that at that first base, they were all coming in like one big wave, hitting both areas at the same time. But now that we've knocked that pace out of them, it means that they start spawning at odd times, like intermittently. You'll get like 3 guys come in one area, and 3 guys come in another area, and you're kind of going in one by one, and that is a very, very bad thing to do on games. You shouldn't, unless you're trying to be, you know, John Rambo, and go in as a one-man army and take everything out, which, let's face it, can work sometimes. I mean, that previous attacking on Hill 137 that I did, I was forced to do that. Oh, but this video is at an end, so I will catch you for more commentary and stuff in the next game. Hope you enjoyed this. And, yeah, don't be John Rambo.
Trying to take the area. U.S. command neither confirmed nor denied the reports.